Oh, hello everyone. I'm trying to increase my lung capacity, and this session is going to be about spirometer. Let's get started. In this session, we will understand why does a person require spirometry, some history and facts related to spirometry, prerequisites for taking spirometry test, performing a spirometry test, activity on measuring vital lung capacity using homemade spirometer, some complications related to spirometry test. We'll take a look at the tips to keep our lungs healthy, and we'll discuss the future of spirometry. Spirometry is derived from Latin words spiro, which means to breathe, and meter, which means to measure. It is a medical test which provides diagnostic information to assess a patient's lung function. The spirometer was originally invented by a person called John Hutchinson in the 1840s. Let's take a look at some curious concepts. Total lung capacity is the volume of air in the lungs upon maximum effort of inspiration. Among healthy adults, the average lung capacity is about 6 liters. Age, gender, body composition, and ethnicity are factors affecting the different ranges of lung capacity among individuals. So, why does a person require spirometry? But before we understand that, it's time for a question. What is the study of lung diseases known as? Give it a guess. Let's see who comes up with the right answer. The right answer is pulmonology. Your doctor may recommend spirometry tests to identify lung diseases, check the severity of existing lung disease, and determine if medications are helping or not. There are certain things that you need to keep in mind before you take a spirometry test. You will sit in a comfortable chair with your feet flat on floor. You may be asked to remove dentures. You are advised to follow caregiver's instructions very carefully. To start with, you will raise your head and chin so that you can breathe easily. Take a deep breath and fill your lungs completely with air, just like this. Place a clip on nose to prevent air from escaping. Place the spirometer between your teeth. Tightly seal your lips around it. Now blast the air completely out of your lungs into spirometer until you are asked to stop by the caregiver. Adults blow for about 6 seconds while children under 10 years of age blow for about 3 seconds. Spirometry test is conducted about 3 to 4 times to get accurate results. Now let us understand the working of a spirometer. Spirometer basically measures your airflow. By measuring how much air you exhale and how quickly you do it, spirometry can evaluate a broad range of lung diseases. While you are sitting, you breathe into a mouthpiece that is connected to an instrument called spirometer. The spirometer records the amount and rate of air that you breathe in and out over a period of time. Remember, you have to set normal values for your age using the marker which is there on spirometer. The indicator indicates whether your inhale and exhale is normal or not. It's time to get excited, so let's jump into the activity for this session. We will be making a spirometer to measure our vital lung capacity. A quick look at the materials that we require for the activity. We have a 1 liter bottle, 500 ml bottle, and a 250 ml bottle. In place of 250 ml bottle, you are free to use measuring cup also. Then we have these 2 bottle caps and 2 flexible tubes. And lastly, we have a ruler. This activity is divided into 8 simple steps. Now let's get started with step 1. We'll fill the 1 liter bottle with water, leaving 3 to 4 centimeter at the top of the bottle. So the second step of the activity is to take the bottle cap of 1 liter bottle and make 2 holes in it. Now we'll make only 1 hole in the bottle cap of 500 ml bottle. Now since we have completed the second step, on to the third step now. Insert 2 tubes through the holes of first bottle cap and 1 tube through the other bottle cap. Keeping in mind that one end of the second tube is left open-ended, which will be used as the mouthpiece. On to the step 4 of our spirometer. Make the bottle cap holes as airtight as possible by using hot glue, wheat dough, or clay to prevent any air from escaping. Remember, this step is to be done for both bottle caps. Now let's get into the step 5 of our activity. Pour water in 250 ml bottle. Fill it to its optimum capacity. Now we'll empty the content in the second bottle that we have. Now remember, this is 250 ml of water. Now we'll measure the length of water and calculate per centimeter volume. So we have 250 ml of water in 10 centimeter of length. So per centimeter we have 25 ml of water. The calculation may differ depending on the size of your measuring cup or bottles. Now since we've measured the capacity of second bottle, now we'll pour back the content of this bottle into the first bottle. Now let's get into the step 6 of our activity. Fit the bottle caps on respective bottles. The caps with 2 holes will go with bottle filled with water. The cap with 1 hole will go with empty bottle. Ensure that inside 1 liter bottle, one tube should be immersed in water while the other tube should be out of contact with water. On to the 7th step of our activity now. This is our mouthpiece. We'll blow air into it for about 6 seconds and you'll notice water being displaced into the empty bottle. So let's get started. Take a deep breath. On to the 8th and final step of our spirometer activity. Measure the volume of water displaced in empty bottle. So as you can see, I have displaced 1 centimeter of water. That means 25 milliliter of water in 6 seconds. As we blow air into the mouthpiece, the pressure is created inside the bottle which is filled with water, and that pressure enables water to get displaced to the empty bottle. So that is the working principle of this homemade spirometer. So that is all that we had in the activity. Let's get into some questions now. Is spirometry test focused on inspiration or expiration? Spirometry test is focused more on expiration. How does this spirometer work? When we blow air into the mouthpiece, the pressure is created inside the bottle which is filled with water. That pressure displaces water from one bottle to the other bottle. Here's what we have learned. We have learned how to make spirometer at home. We've learned what is spirometer and how does it work, and working principle behind spirometer. Let's take a look at spirometry interpretation. First up, we have obstructive disorders. They are characterized by limitation of expiratory airflow, so that airways cannot empty as rapidly compared to normal. Some of the examples of obstructive disorders are asthma, cystic fibrosis, and so on. Then we have restrictive disorders. They are characterized by reduced lung volumes and decreased lung compliance. Some of the examples are obesity, lung resection, scoliosis, etc. Before we move forward, it's time for another question. Where does exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place inside our lungs? The right answer is alveoli. Let's take a look at some confounding factors that may affect the spirometry results. Common cold, severe respiratory infection, smoking and consumption of heavy food are the factors which may affect the spirometry results. Now let's look at some terms associated with lung volumes. First up, we have tidal volume. It's the volume of air inhaled and exhaled at each breath during normal quiet breathing. Then we have inspiratory reserve volume. It's the maximum amount of air that can be inhaled after a normal inhalation. Expiratory reserve volume. It's the volume of air that can be forcefully expired following a normal quiet expiration. And lastly, we have residual volume. It's the volume of air remaining in the lungs after a forceful expiration. There are certain complications associated with spirometry tests. First one of them is chest pain, dizziness, increased ICP, beside paroxysmal coughing and nosocomial infection. Let's take a look at some tips to keep our lungs healthy. The first tip is to avoid smoking, secondhand smoke and environmental irritants. Consume food which is rich in antioxidants. Get vaccinations like flu and pneumonia vaccine. Exercise more frequently. It could be cycling, running or just playing football with your friends. And lastly, improve air quality. Before we get into the home activity for this session, it's time for another question. It's a simple question. You just have to answer yes or no and try to find the reasons behind it. Are both the lungs same size? Yes or no? The right answer is no. Both our lungs are not the same size. The left lung is smaller in order to accommodate our heart. There are two parts of home activity. The first part is research at home. Find out how many times you inhale and exhale in a minute. Record your observations on a table. Do the same for all your family members. Browse the web and find out the respiration rates and check if everyone's rates are normal. Did you know by the time you turn 65, your lung capacity will reduce by a liter or more? Find out at least 2 breathing exercises that will help you breathe easier and increase your lung capacity. Encourage all your family members to do the same. Getting into the second part of home activity, which is called Innovate at Home. Here, you get to be creative. We wear masks on a daily basis now. How do you think technology can be used to innovate upon the current design of masks? Think about how you can develop a device that can continuously measure the lung health of old people. Let's look into the future of spirometry now. Home spirometry is something which is inevitable in future. Home spirometry allows for monitoring of pulmonary function at home. Advanced exhaled biomarker analysis is something which will help in early detection of lung cancer by using the breath. The Microlab is a desktop spirometer with integral printer and color touchscreen, and it features 41 test parameters. Pulmonary gas exchange ensures that ventilation and perfusion of the lungs are adequately matched. This is vital for ensuring continuous delivery of oxygen and removal of carbon dioxide from our body. In future, we'll have technologies to non-invasively measure cardiac output. Pulse wave analysis allows a continuous, minimally invasive cardiac output measurement. Tissue oxygen delivery is a technology that will go straight into tissue physiology. That is all that we had in Spirometer. Stay healthy and keep innovating. Goodbye.